The 3 clan bosses in Raid Shadow Legends, the ultimate source of just account power, really. And so no matter which one of these clan bosses that you are struggling on your account, we're going to be in the process of this account takeover on Mr. Mont's account, covering all kinds of champions that you could be building out into Demon Lord clan boss, into Hydra, into Chimera, especially focusing on free legendary champions as well as champions of epic quality that can really get you started into these areas of the game. So we're going to be building some teams on Mr. Mont's account, teams that he can look to build in the future in all of these areas of the game. But along with every champion that I cover, I'm going to cover like 3 or 4 similar champions that can also slot into their role as well, so that if you've got any of those champions on your account, you can look to build those guys out instead. And I'm also going to rage a little bit about the fact that we've spent all of our legendary skill books in this account into Alice the Wanderer instead of Supreme Garlic. But before we do, if you're looking to start off a new Raid Shadow Legends account, man, with the best beginner promo link going, then look no further than my beginner promo link, which you can click on down below at the top of the video description box, man. Just click on that link on your laptop or on a PC. Use that link to create a new raid account for all kinds of freebies, including a whole bunch of free epic champions as you level your account up, and a free legendary starter champion in the form of Elnaril. Best beginner promo link going, so if you're looking to start off a new free-to-play adventure, or you've got a friend in the game who's looking to start off a new account, that beginner promo link, man, is the best way to get that done. Okay, let's do this, man, and let's start off with the happy old Demon Lord clan boss, which were on this account. I did notice one thing that disheveled me a little bit. It disparaged me, it wounded me. I saw that we actually put both of our keys on this account. You can see Mont Nos just above my head. Right here, on Mont Naus rather. And the team that we're using into Demon Lord Clan Boss is not necessarily the most terrible team, but we've put 2 keys into Nightmare Clan Boss, dealing only 16 million damage, and that only gets us the Master Chest in Nightmare Clan Boss. We'd be much better off putting both of those keys into Brutal difficulty Clan Boss. We probably do more damage because Brutal is much easier. It's easier to survive the longer into Brutal, and we'd probably be able to get like 2 drops of the Grandmaster Chest instead if we were able to get that done in Brutal. Then again, the issue doesn't end there because we'd have to kill Brutal in order to get 2 chests, and we don't seem to be in a clan that's paying any attention to Brutal difficulty Clan Boss at all, which is a little bit disheveling. It looks like we might be one of the weaker guys in the clan. It looks like quite a small clan at that. We might want to consider switching things up a little bit, man. Okay, and there's actually a lot of inactives in the clan as well. Ooh, yeah, I don't know about all this, man. There's big disparities in power level in the clan too. I digress, man. Let's start off with Demon Lord Clan Boss. So what are the key tools that you want to bring into Demon Lord Clan Boss? Well, poison and HP burn damage dealers are a big one. Decrease attack debuff for champions is another big one. Ally protection buffers, increase defense buffers could be very good, and then weaken debuffers and decrease defense debuffers. You could also maybe throw ally attackers into this clan boss as well. Ally attack champions tend to do a fantastic job in Demon Lord, especially once you've got masteries farmed on all of your champs, just so that you can be proccing that War Master mastery as much as humanly possible. And behold, the champion team that I would recommend using into Demon Lord clan boss and building this team out into Demon Lord on Mr. Mont's account. Starting off with the Geomancer pick. Why is Geomancer in the team? Well, he's one of 2 damage dealers in this team. Damage dealers into Clan Boss. What are we bringing? Max HP damage, HP burns, poisons, poison activators, that kind of thing. Geomancer brings a couple of the above with HP burn. Also brings weaken as well on his A2. I love to see that he's fully booked out on Mont's account. And he brings all kinds of kind of reflected max HP damage back against the boss as well on his passive. So just a fantastic damage dealer option into Demon Lord overall. Some rapid fire alternatives to the Geomancer into Demon Lord as just like general damage dealers that are great. Gonna be Farrakhan the Fat. He brings decreased defense on his A1, HP burn and poisons on his A2, and then a big old ally attack skill on his A3, right? Which again, if you've got a lot of champions built out on your team with masteries, they're gonna be getting all kinds of War Master procs and just extra bonus damage from using their A1 skill. And Farrakhan is just gonna help to exploit that even further. Great Demon Lord clan boss damage dealer here. A rare champion option that's notoriously good into Demon Lord is going to be Frozen Banshee. She brings a 100% land rate poison debuff, double poison debuff I should say, on her A1 once she's fully booked up, so that's great. And she does also bring a poison sensitivity debuff as well on her A3, so you can partner up your Frozen Banshee with something like a Kale or just any other poison champion as well when you're just getting started in Demon Lord, and they could be a great poison damage dealer duo, right? You don't necessarily need the HP burner in there, it's just a nice to have. You can just go pretty heavy on the poisons. Just make sure that you don't have so many debuffs on the Demon Lord boss that you run out of debuff slots, right? right? 10 debuffs is the hard limit. You can't place any more than that. The last thing you want to do is place so many poisons on the Demon Lord that you can no longer place decrease attack debuffs and stuff like that, right? You're going to end up in a world of pain that way. But yeah, Kale is also worth a mention as well. Hyper budget. Most people start off their new accounts with Kale. Quadruple hitter, chance of placing poison on the A3. Just have him spam that A3 as much as humanly possible against the Demon Lord, and he's going to get you off to a solid start too. He's not a Geomancer, but you know, we can't all have Geomancers, right? And next up on this team that we're covering here is the second damage dealer, which is the Fane. And I'm going to go ahead and cover some champions that are a little bit like Fane as well. Well, maybe one or two, because Fane's very uniquely specialized into Demon Lord. Again, the Fane in this team could be like a Kale or a Frozen Banshee or another poison champ, something like that. Fane does bring a double poison on her A2, which is lovely, but she also brings decreased attack debuff in that same A2. Great, right? She brings multiple tools against the boss right there, decreased attack being so important. And then she also brings decreased defense and weakened debuffs as well, with long placement durations of 3 turns on her A3 also. And so, for me on this account, I don't know, dude, every single epic book needs to go into the Fane as soon as possible. We've already fully booked the Geomancer on Mod's account. I think the Fane has got to be next. She's too much of a specialist to not build into Demon Lord, especially if you're not even able to like 2-key Nightmare yet. She's going to fit into this team just fine. Another specialist damage dealer, very similar to Fane when it comes to Demon Lord Clan Boss, is going to be Anax. He's kind of like, if Fane's like a 10 out of 10, Fanax would be like an 8.5 or a 9. Still very good. Brings a poison debuff on his A2 as well as a decreased accuracy debuff, which is fine. It's not quite as useful, but the poison's nice. And then he brings weaken on his A3, and he actually brings the decrease defense on the A1. So he brings all of the tools that Fane does, which is lovely, just apart from the decrease attack. So he's just like a little notch lower than the Fane, but a very good specialist to substitute in to your Demon Lord team if you don't have the Fane. Next up in this team, we have got the Vegas. So what is the Vegas doing here? He's one of those big defensive champions, right? Remember I mentioned ally protection champions, increased defense buffer champions can be very good as well. Vegas is one of those guys, right? He brings on his A2 an ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, and then places increased defense buff on himself. But the ally protection is going to do a hell of a lot for keeping you alive. Vegas is great because he also places shields and heals as well when he takes certain percentage health as damage. So lovely. He's going to just provide some stability to the team, and hopefully when you're booking out your Vegas, you can just get this A2 booked as quick as possible. You don't have to bother booking out the A1 necessarily, you know. Just get the A2 booked and you've got a good ally protection champion there. Now Vegas isn't necessarily the best man for the job, he's just a guy for the job, right? Even better than Vegas is going to be the likes of Taragi the Frog. If you've got a Taragi on your account, oh man, he's got to be in your early game Demon Lord team, dude. He brings a decreased attack debuff on his A1, which is lovely. His Provoke A2, bit useless, obviously, against the clan boss, but he also brings ally protection buff and AoE shielding for your entire team on his A3. That's not all as well. Not only is he one of those big ally protector guys who's going to, you know, greatly minimize the damage your team has taken, but he also has a chance to place poison against attackers as well every time he takes a hit, and so he's even helping out a little bit with damage also. Taragi the Frog, fantastic like babysitter option. Another option for this role would be Skull Crusher, who has a very simple kit. It's really all about his A2 in Clan Boss, where he brings, again, 50% ally protect on a 3-turn cooldown bucked, but he also places counterattack buff on all allies for 2 turns as well, so helping to keep your team alive. And I guess that counterattack was actually a buff that I just totally forgot to mention at the start of the video when talking about all of the roles that you want to bring to Demon Lord if you can, but counterattack, it's kind of like ally attack. It's a very nice to have, and it's just going to help to boost your damage by a hell of a lot by just getting more A1s in against the boss across your entire team. Skull Crusher, great champ for that. And last up, man, Hitatsu. I've got to shout this guy out. Hitatsu is going to help out your healing a little bit across your team by placing Leech debuff on the boss with A1. He brings a decreased attack debuff on his A2. Takes quite a few books to get this one fully upgraded, but it's fine. And he also brings increased defense and continuous heal buffs as well on his A3. And so he can do a lot, man. He's bringing, of course, the decreased attack being like the biggest tool that you want to be bringing to the table with a Hitatsu, but he's going to also boost up the survivability of your team by quite a lot if you're lacking a little bit of healing, or you just don't have an ally protector and you could use an increased defense instead. He can do a job for you. He also brings a defense aura in all battles by 25%, which means that he could also be your aura lead into Demon Lord as well and just get you surviving for that 3, 4, 5 turns longer. Speaking of which, next up we arrive at the healer role. You need at least one champion on the team that's bring in even just a little bit of AoE healing to your team. For our team right here on Mon's account, it's going to be the Demitha, which is a champ he's using in his clan boss team already, so that's good to see. She's not fully bucked up though, which is a little bit sad, but yeah, she brings block damage buff on all allies for 1 turn. She can be used as part of like an unkillable setup and stuff once you've got the champions to use alongside her, which we don't have on this account yet. But continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns, that's more than enough healing on a 3-turn cooldown once this is bucked up, you know. Something just a little bit. Eventually there comes a point against Demon Lord where healing does not help you. You're just going to get one-shotted from like 80% health to nothing, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it anymore. So you just need enough healing so that your team isn't getting one-shotted and they're generally staying somewhat topped up. Demitha can do the job. A fantastic alternative to a Demitha in the early game, if you're looking for any old healer role, is actually going to be Vorgoth, which is not one that newer players are likely to think of or to come to mind right away, but he's a great champion. Whenever this champion is attacked, heal all allies by half of the damage Vorgoth receives. Only heals by 25% of damage received from boss attacks. So what you end up doing is building Vorgoth with not particularly high defense, but a hell of a lot of health, right? As high health as you can possibly get, so that this heal counts for more, right? You want him taking high damage, but you want him to have a hell of a lot of health, so that this heal is worth a lot against Demon Lord Clan Boss. And then you also get to cash in on Vorgoth's triple hitter A1. Attacks one enemy 3 times, okay? Why is this so good? Well, because down behind my camera right now, just off to the side of my camera right now, is the Giant Slayer Mastery. And once you've able to farm this Giant Slayer Mastery up on your triple hitter champions like Vorgoth, right, triple hitter A1s and stuff like that, you can cash in on a lot of damage using just their A1 into the likes of Demon Lord, especially if you've got like counter attack champions or ally attack champions in your Demon Lord team as well, right? It's just a lot of bonus percentage health damage on your multi-hitter A1 champions. Apothecary is going to be another champion as well that I'm going to mention in this same category. He brings a little bit of healing. It is bookable down to a 2-turn cooldown, which is actually kind of great. Brings increased speed buffs and stuff like that as well. Fantastic rare champion. You probably can't rely on him as a solo healer. Into Demon Lord, of course, it's just a single target heal at the end of the day, but he can complement somebody who's bringing some weak heals, leech debuffs, that kind of thing, and help you out there. But he also brings that triple hitter A1, and so a nice fast apothecary, triple hitter A1, Giant Slayer Mastery, a little bit of extra healing. I'll throw him in the same category as the healers, I guess, just so that he gets a mention, because I think he's worth it, man. And finally, that brings us to the Alice in this team, who's just there randomly, because on this account we just don't really have any other better options. We might as well just throw in another damage dealer. We do have decreased defense and weaken on this team, and so she's going to be able to hit pretty decently hard against the boss. She's also 5-star awakened, so she's just the best option to throw in as sort of champion number 5 in this team that we have on this account. This final slot in your team is a great spot for just another additional poison champion, or like a poison activator champion, or an HP burn activator champion, or an ally attack champion, right? Another option that you've got here, or that everybody will have access to, that you can always throw in, is going to be more like Bronze Lock if you're super in the early game and you just need to fill up the team a little bit. Defense-based damage healer. She brings ally attack on the A3. She also brings a strengthen buff as well on the A2, which is just going to help your survivability against Demon Lord a little bit. So if you don't have the Alice and you're just looking for any other damage healer to sort of stuff the team with, Morag is going to be a fine option. But ideally, this 5th role is just filling gaps, like gaps in the list that we covered a little bit earlier on for tools that you want to be bringing into Demon Lord. But this right here is the team that I would take into Demon Lord Clan Boss if I was on Mont's account, which I guess technically speaking, I am on Mont's account. Next up, this brings us to Chimera Clan Boss. And so what tools do you want to be bringing into Chimera? Chimera can be considered like the 2nd clan boss, really. Hydra is by far the most kind of impenetrable, to be honest. Chimera is one that you can actually start getting some pretty early chests in if you are throwing the right tools at it. So key tools to bring into Chimera, most important debuff is going to be decrease speed. That's huge. You want to also bring 10 meter boost and increase speed on your own team as much as you can as well. The faster you're moving against Chimera, the better. I would say definitely try and bring along a block buffs champion as soon as you can. That can be a little bit tough when you're in the super early game, but a block buffs champion is going to help you out a hell of a lot. You also want to bring decreased defense if you can. You're also going to want to bring some AoE healing. You're going to need a reviver at a certain point in Chimera, right? You can get away with it a little bit and get the early chests without a reviver and do okay if you're like in a super beginner state, but bring a reviver if you can against the ram form. You're almost definitely going to need it. And then debuff cleanse is going to help you out a hell of a lot as well. Now the thing about Chimera is that can get really easy to get bogged down with, oh, should I be focusing on the trials? Should I be bringing like true fears, you know, against the ram form? Should I be bringing block active skills against the viper form because I want to get my trials done? What about HB burn? Blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Forget about the trials for now, man. Don't worry too much about it. If you're just getting started into Chimera, do not worry about it, right? Just be doing enough damage to Chimera to get the chests. That's all you got to worry about. But of course, if you are trying to get the trials done, things like block active skills and against the viper form and stuff like that are going to be necessary debuffs that you want to bring to the table as well. And so on Mr. Mont's account, this is the team that I would bring into Chimera Clan Boss. Yes, this is the Arcane Keep boss right all up and over here right now, but Mont has spent all of his Chimera keys, so I just have to build the team here in the Arcane Keep instead, just to show it off. Haikatun would be my very first champion that I would key in on this team. I think she is drastically important. Having your team running fast is the most important thing in Chimera, outpacing the boss, keeping decreased speed against the boss. Haikatun can handle both of those things. She brings a decreased speed debuff on her A1. You could just want to disable her A3, by the way, against Chimera Clan Boss. I guess that's not obvious. Just disable it. Don't let her use it. You just want her spamming increased speed and 10 meter fill on the A2, placing the decreased speed debuff with her A1, which can be booked up to at least a 40% land rate, so it's fine. And of course, she also brings the 19% speed aura in all battles as well, which is going to be active for you in Chimera also. So Haikatun is a great budget option. Another fantastic option going into Chimera is going to be Takeover. Takeover is a great champ. He brings increased speed and some healing on a 3-turn cooldown on his A2. He also brings the HP aura in all battles as well, which can help you out if you've got no better aura lead. You can use the Takeover, and he also handles the reviver role as well, which again is so important for wiggling your way through against the ram form, which more often than not is just going to kill somebody on your team the moment it spawns in, you know. So having that reviver is kind of key, right? So Takeover is a good option. An often overlooked champion that's actually pretty damn solid as well is going to be Golden Reaper from the Knights Revenant. This is a void epic, a little bit less common for people that have their hands on it, but she's a great champ as well. Attacks one enemy on the A1, chance of decreasing the cooldown of one of your random ally skills by 110, which can't be undervalued. It's actually a pretty solid supporting A1. She brings a 75% land rate decreased attack debuff on her A2, which is very nice to have as well. And then she brings the increased speed and 10 meter boost on a 3-turn on her A3. So just great all-round little support champion for getting started into Chimera as well. Just a hop up from Haikatun, really. Well, as long as you've got another champion to place decreased speed on your team, that is, because that buff is, that debuff is so important. And we can also mention Apothecary again as well. Just great champion. If you've maxed him up before your Haikatun, just use him in Chimera. The increased speed, the 10 meter boost, all of that good stuff. Yeah, we don't need to cover him again. Next champion on the list is going to be the Ugo. In this case, fantastic epic champion all up and over here, and Ugo is going to be bringing that block buffs that we talked about. Very nice to see that the Ugo is fully booked up on this account as well. We are ready to take the Ugo up to 60 and start getting some great use out of this champ, but it also brings decreased defense. Another great debuff to bring into Chimera. Brings leech debuff on the A1, does plenty of healing when combined up with the A3, which also brings a bit of debuff cleanse as well. And so Ugo is really covering a lot of bases into Chimera. Now get ready for this, man. Some other good block buffs champions that you can consider into Chimera. These are not going to be champion. The thing is with Ugo is that Ugo is so good, and because she has AoE block buffs and AoE decreased defense in the same skill, and it's 100% land rate, you can also take Ugo into Hydra and have a great time with Ugo in there as well. And I've totally clicked on the wrong faction here. I should be in the Orcs. But you only need a single target block buffs champion to take into Chimera, right? Which means that you can get away with the likes of Yelagirna. Great little champion here, man, that I've never really spotlighted before, and that, you know, her reviews are kind of middling. She's pretty damn solid for getting you started, though, into Chimera. She places increased attack buff on herself on occasion if she kills an enemy. She also brings decreased attack on 100% land rate on the A2, which is just lovely on a 3-turn cooldown. That's nice to have. And then on her A3, 3-turn cooldown, she places block buffs, debuff, and a block active skills debuff for 2 turns, which is great, right? It means that she can help you out with surviving into Viper form as well, because that block active skills is only usable against the Viper form, of course, and it really shuts it down, and it's going to help you survive what's otherwise a very, very tough phase to live through, especially if it's early days on your account. But she also brings the block buffs debuff to just spam throughout the entire fight against all of the forms as well. So great little option here. A Void Epic option is going to be Ostrock's Boneglaive, who's a pretty solid champ. Little bit of healing, little bit of debuff transference off of himself on his A1, which is just fine. On his A2, he brings himself that block buffs, 310 cooldown, 100% land rate. That's all you need to know. He does the job. And then he also brings a little bit of debuff cleanse as well, albeit on a 410 cooldown on his A3. He's a fine option if you don't have the Ugo. And finally, a champion that's actually technically a damage dealer, of course, and hits very, very hard with his double hitter A1, and absolutely just claps some cheeks, basically, wherever you use him, is going to be Fanax of the Sacred Order faction, who brings not just decreased defense, but also decreased speed on his A3, on a 410 cooldown when fully booked. Not 100% land rate though. You got to be a little bit cautious of that, right? You might want to use him like alongside a Haikatoon or something into Chimera, which I think I'm actually going to be doing maybe on my own free-to-play account, now that I think of it. But also on his A2, he also brings that block buffs on an 80% land rate on a 410 cooldown on this A2. So again, not hyper-reliable stuff, but if you're going to use him as a damage dealer anyway, you know, not bad. Revisiting the team once again, we've got Artur, right? We're running Udex Artur on this team. The strengthen, his buffs, his 10 meter fill, that kind of stuff is all fine. His A1 healing is very, very fine as well. We're kind of just running him for the case that he brings a revive. That's it, really. He's just the only revive option that we've got in the entire account, man. Great alternative to Udex Artur is, of course, going to be Tagore, one that we've already mentioned and that I don't need to go over again. The likes of Rector Drath would be a much, much better option, right? She brings a decreased attack debuff, strong version on the A1, which is just lovely. Brings all kinds of AoE heals, continuous heal buffs, which are also great into Chimera, by the way. Like, continuous heal is uniquely good into Chimera because, well, it's good against all of the forms of Chimera, and it's especially good against Viper form because when Viper form activates, it steals all of your buffs right on its very first turn, and it will do that. It will attempt to do that again during that phase. It doesn't steal continuous heal buffs. For whatever reason, it's just in the boss mechanics, it just doesn't steal continuous heal buffs, and so these are actually very, very valuable. And then, of course, you get the revive on Rector Drath as well. Just a great champion overall. A little bit less obvious is going to be good old Gorgorab. This is a fine little champion, man. He's got a chance of removing buffs from the boss with his A1, so if you don't have a block buffs champion and you want to run Gorgorab as one of your supporting champions, he brings the revives and a little bit of healing as well on his A3 on a long cooldown, albeit it's a 510 cooldown, even fully booked. He brings the revives and stuff like that, also brings a little bit of buff peel on his A1. 75% land rate on this is actually quite good, and then he brings some 10 meter fill and increased attack for your team as well, and that 10 meter fill is quite premium against Chimera also, because you just want your team running as fast as possible against Kimi. Another option that is often slept on a little bit is going to be Old Hermit Jorg. Now, he's fine, he's okay, he's not the best. He does bring a chance to place HP burn debuff on his A1, which is actually quite a nice little bonus against the likes of Chimera, to be honest. Don't be sleeping on this, it's only 40% land rate, but you know, he likes to get it off every now and again for it to really clock in some value. He brings a big old 10 meter fill of 20% and increased attack buff on the A2, and then likewise he brings the revive once again on his A3. I'd suggest that Tagore is probably slightly better than Old Hermit Jorg because Tagore handles a bit of the healing on the team as well, and an increased speed buff is always going to be better than an increased attack buff in this kind of scenario. But Old Hermit Jorg as the reviver can get some work done. Just don't be fooled into thinking that he's like a hard support. He actually doesn't bring any healing at all in his kit. It's just the revives, the 10 meter boost, and chance to burn. Those are all some options that we could consider for those other roles. Now it comes down to the, in this case, I guess, 2 damage dealer roles. We're of course running Geomancer. Again, against this, no explanation needed. He's just great against basically all bosses as a source of damage. And same thing with Alice, he's kind of just like the best we can do. Now, if we had a fully booked Supreme Gallic on this account, which, again, sadly we don't, then he would have a 310 cooldown. He would bring in block buffs, again, you bring in another decreased speed debuff source to the fight as well, some HP burn activation. He might actually do better for us than the Alice if he's fully booked on up, but I think the Alice is going to do just fine for us for the time being. Some other amazing budget damage dealer options are once again going to include Farrakhan the Fat for the reasons we've already talked about. Royal Guard is another great damage dealer option as well. Actually brings some great debuffs to the fight against Chimera. Brings the decreased defense on his A1, brings decreased speed on his A3, which is great. And then, of course, he brings an attack all enemies damage based on enemy max HP on his A2. So he can kind of smack a little bit against the Chimera as well. So Royal Guard is a very, very solid option, not just for Chimera, but as a huge boss damage dealer in many areas of the game, particularly dungeons, with his ally attack aura in dungeons. And another damage dealer that I don't want you to sleep on is Bloodfeather of the Orcs faction, who at first glance looks really, really crappy. She is actually pretty good into Chimera, to be honest. Very, very basic A1. However, she places decreased defense on a A2, extra 30% chance of inflicting a crit, which is crit. And then in the A3, she also places the decreased speed debuff as well. 100% land rate, 3-turn cooldown booked, and again, another 30% chance of inflicting a crit. So she just brings two big key debuffs to the fight. And you only have to build it with 70% crit chance, meaning you can go more into things like speed and crit damage and that kind of thing, man. She's actually pretty good as like a starter damage dealer into Kimmy. And that brings us into the big one, the big daddy, man. It's Hydra time. What kind of tools do you want to be bringing into Hydra? Real quick, rapid fire. AoE block buffs. Very, very important against Hydra. A provoke champion, at least with a 3-turn cooldown, 100% land rate provoke, if not a spammable provoke. That's pretty reliable on the A1. A provoker is quite crucial. You're going to need to bring some good AoE healing. You're going to need to bring some debuff cleanse for your team as well. I'd recommend an AoE decrease attack debuffer into Hydra as well. I'd also recommend an AoE HP burner, decrease defense, AoE weaken, right? Max HP damage dealers, those are going to be great, barring poison, right? Apart from Demon Lord Clan Boss, poison kind of falls off quite heavy. Might also want to consider bringing an AoE Hex champion, or at least one of your champions built in a cursed artifact set into Hydra. Now, depressingly but not unexpectedly, this is Mr. Mont's attempts into Hydra, and I imagine this is what like the attempts of a lot of players look like into Hydra when you're just trying to get started in Hydra for the very first time, not even really breaking a million damage with 2 keys combined. Now, with this my account, this is the team that I would be looking to push in Hydra. Remember, by the way, one thing that you do not want to be doing into Hydra is spreading your keys out across 2 suboptimal teams, okay? What you really want to be doing in Hydra is, in the early game like this, you gotta be consolidating all of your strongest champions and hitting as many of those checkboxes from my list as you can, and doing as much damage you can with one team to try and at least get the novice chest out of Hydra. That's like goal number 1 with Hydra. And you'll also find, by the way, that even if Hydra's like a real struggle for you in normal, like, oh, you can deal like maybe 2 million damage and then you die horribly and it's all over, at least you're getting the first chest. What I will say is that once you get your first ever kill on a Hydra head, suddenly the fight gets like 25% easier because one of the heads is now missing, you know, and you'll find that your team starts to stabilize and you're very, very close to kind of skyrocketing from like 2 million damage to like 15 or 16 million damage, you know, provided your damage dealers aren't kill. And so this right here is the team that I would suggest Mr. Mont uses into Hydra. Obviously, all of these champions I've already covered throughout the course of this video so far, so I'm not going to touch on them again, man, but we've got a couple of block buffs champions here in the team that are going to help us out with that. That, for me, is like the most important thing to bring. Block buffs and a provoker. Those are like the 2 most important roles to bring into Hydra, and I guess and a healer, or you're just not going to live for very long. So if you can handle those 3 roles and get those 3 roles down, you're like halfway there to getting towards your first Hydra key. Royal Guard is there. It's just a great max HP damage dealer. Also brings decreased speed. The R2 is there because he brings strength and to help us live a little bit. I think he brings strength in at least. He also brings a revive, which, you know, you can run your early game Hydra teams without a reviver and just focus on just throwing like another damage dealer in there and just doing as much damage as you can. And that's a way that you can do it. But that's kind of like jumping down a mountainside with like a wingsuit. Like the extreme sports, you jumping down the mountainside with a wingsuit, but you're just like, I don't need an emergency parachute, man. It'll be fine, you know, until that one time where your wingsuit doesn't open properly or it's got like a rip down one side for no reason. let's just say it's a long way down. That's kind of like running Hydra without a reviver. You know, things when they go bad fast if you don't have a reviver on your team. That said, you can get away with it in the early game if you're just trying to do that 2 million damage to get your first keys. Anyway, so Supreme Gallic and Royal Guard are going to combine to be two of our core damage dealers, as well as the Geomancer into Hydra. Some alternatives you can run are going to be the likes of Husk, great champion to bring into Hydra. On his A2, he brings a 4-turn cooldown, attack all enemies, damage based on enemy max HP. I will say, by the way, that a lot of people, when they run their enemy max HP damage dealers into Hydra, they say things like, what the hell? My Husk is only dealing like 40k damage or 50k damage or something, like he's really not doing anything. Why the hell are people raving about Husk into Hydra when he sucks? And that could be for a massive multitude of reasons. Maybe you're not even breaking like 200% crit damage on your Husk build. That can be a huge problem. It might be the case that you're not running an AoE decreased defense champion or an AoE weakened champion on your Hydra team, which are going to massively spike the damage as well. But it's also just the case that into normal mode Hydra, the Hydra heads they just have less max health, right? They're just lower health enemies, and so you're not actually dealing that much damage compared to how much you could be doing against higher difficulties of Hydra with something like a Husk and enemy max HP damage. So all of those things are just things to be aware of. Another option is Ninja. If you were lucky enough to get Ninja for free on your account at any one of like the Ninja special promotions or like login rewards, whatever, in the past, he's an incredible option into Hydra. Just make sure that he's prioritizing this A2, the HP burn, and the HP burn activation. He's going to be great. But Cobb, he's legendary. Yes, he is. Okay, Hydra is rough. Okay, make no mistake about it. It's not like I'm gonna have 3 or 4 easy options for you to just pick up and use and get started in Hydra. Hydra kind of doesn't work like that, man. It's a whole other beast compared to Demon Lord and compared to Chimera. In fact, to the extent where I'm gonna shout out another legendary champion, I'm gonna go ahead and point out Attack. I think he's one of the better starter legendary damage dealers to get you started into Hydra as well. Because not only does he bring AoE HP burn and AoE HP burn activation, but he also brings AoE decrease attack as well, which is bloody crucial sometimes when you're getting started in Hydra in the beginning, where your defense stats just aren't very good and stuff like that, you know. So I'll shout him out too. At least he's not a Void legendary, I guess. Another one worth shouting out is Acrizia, just one of the best damage dealers in the game. If you've got Acrizia and you're struggling with Hydra, I don't know, I just can't help you. Another epic damage dealer beast, actually, that's genuinely worth shouting out, all jokes aside, is going to be Inquisitor Shamil. This is a great guy, man. So he's got a lot of reading to do. I'm just not going to read his skills. Basically, all you need to know is that he counterattacks a lot with his A1, and I mean a hell of a lot with his A1, and every time he attacks in, he has a chance to remove an enemy buff or reduce the duration of an enemy buff, so that's pretty good. His A2 is a triple hitter that ignores some enemy defense, so that's also great. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, and books actually increase the damage by a lot. Like 35% damage from just 3 epic books is actually really good value. But most importantly into Hydra, via his passive, he makes it so that, well, whenever an ally receives a fear or true fear debuff from an enemy, this skill instantly removes that debuff and fills your team leader's turn meter by 15%, which, if you've got like a damage dealer as your 10 meter lead going into Hydra, oh my god, dude, he's going to be spam filling the 10 meter of your team leader, right? Whenever the Head of Torment is up. Whenever the Head of Torment is up, it's spamming fear buffs constantly across your entire team. Not anymore if you've got Chimera on side, right? Great damage dealer, massive for just keeping your team like a well-oiled machine and countering the Head of Torment completely. As for the block buffs champions in Hydra, we've obviously touched on Ugo, we've obviously touched on Ostrox. Those are both great options for getting you started. Another one is Umbral Enchantress. This is a champion who has a very crazy A3, which you're probably just going to want to disable against Hydra, to be honest. It places a unremovable block active skills buff against herself to land a provoke. It's an interesting skill in wave content, maybe in PvP, that kind of thing. Probably not in Hydra. In Hydra, you probably just want to spamming this A3. It's a 3-turn cooldown, attack all enemies, 100% chance bug to placing block buffs debuff for 3 turns. Very nice, right? Umbral Enchantress can cover that role completely for you on your team, and it is such an important skill to bring into Hydra. You know what? I've actually got to remove Geomancer from this team real quick, man. She actually just shouldn't be there. There's 2 roles here in this team that we are missing and we have no options for on this account. We'll get to those in just a sec, man. Next up, Artur. He's here basically for the revive. That's it. And I've just now realized that I've been calling him Artur for like the entire video. What the hell is that, man? Artur, goddammit, Artur, or Udex Artur, man. Rector Drath is a great substitute for this, much better reviver. Yeah, because she brings a hell of a lot more to the table, right? Just more healing and a clean revive on her A3. And not so much a reviver, but more of just like a strict healer and debuff cleanser. You can't really go wrong with the Doom Priest either. Very, very basic kit. It's all about her passive, man. Healing and debuff removal every single time she gets a turn. So just build a nice and fast Doom Priest, and you're sort of good to go with Doomy. That said, we're about to go completely off the rails here, man, with these Hydra suggestions. Udex can actually work okay in this team, but the reason I'm covering him again is because he's got an attack all enemies on his A1. So what we want to be doing in this Hydra team is gearing up Udex Atto in a cursed artifact set so that every single hit he throws in against the Hydra heads, he has a 50% chance of placing a Hex debuff against him, right? Hex is fantastic to bring into Hydra. The Head of Mischief in Hydra can only be targeted with direct single target skills if it's got a Hex debuff on it, right? So it's really, really quite crucial to bring, not just for boosting damage, but also for dealing with the Head of Mischief. And so any kind of support champion with an attack all enemy skill can be great for bringing along in a cursed set. This could be on the Ugo as well. Ugo's, of course, got an attack all enemies, plays decreased defense. It can work on her. But now back to the team builder and the reason why I removed one of the champions from this team. Not gonna lie, man. I just threw a Geomancer into this team and have done with it, and then just find a Provoker for the final spot, because that's the role that's missing on this account, but I don't want to jump the gun too much. The reason that Geomancer is not great here, we've already got two kind of committed damage dealers. It would be much, much better in a champion type that you want to look out for on your account to slot into your Hydra team at the earliest possible convenience is going to just be, I don't know, like just a super giga support champion that brings increased speed, healing, useful buffs, all of that kind of stuff. These are almost always of the legendary variety. Until you can find a champion that does that, just throw another damage dealer into one of your Hydra team spots and just make sure that you're doing enough damage to get the chest. That would be my recommendation. But a couple of these legendary, just awesome support champs that I'm talking about include the likes of Estrid Dreamsong, who brings 10 meter boost, increased speed, some extra healing, as well as AoE decreased speed and weaken debuff against the clan boss. Fantastic, fantastic support champion. Elva Autumnborn is similarly incredible, brings a crap load of healing from her passive, brings a revive on her A3, and also brings increased speed and a block debuffs buff for your team as well. Oh, and also a debuff cleanse as well on her A2. Even speed aura in all battles as well. So Elva is another fantastic, fantastic Hydra support. Another might be, God, these are all the Sylvan Watchers, man. Another might be the likes of Glycad of the Meltwater, right? Champions like this, he brings an increased defense, increased accuracy, revives all dead allies as well. 410 cooldown on this skill on his A3. Again, speed in all battles, 10 meter boost, and even the perfect Veil buff on all allies as well for a couple of turns on this A2. So just a big Giga Chad support champion like this who just brings a lot of buffs to the table, a lot of healing and or revives to the table. These are the support champions that are actually going to take your Hydra team and like really take them off the ground if they're replacing like a mediocre damage dealer champion into Hydra for you. But alas, we don't have any of those champions just yet, so I'm just going to throw a Geomancer back on the team. Now for the final slot, the Provoker. Okay, Provokers are really, really hard to come by as well. It's another role that people really struggle with into Hydra, but if you're not able to keep the Head of Decay provoked throughout your Hydra fight, you're just going to have a really, really bad time. It's going to be cleansing all of the debuffs across all of your other Hydra heads, which is just an absolute disaster, because then it's removing the block buffs debuff from all of the Hydra heads. Also, you got to keep the Head of Decay provoked. For that purpose, once again, we've got Husk, right? Husk can actually double as a great damage dealer into Hydra, but also brings a double hit at A1 with a 45% chance, 40% chance on hit of placing the provoke debuff for 110. It's not ultra mega reliable, far from it, but it can get you started, right, at the very least. Another champion also in Undead Hordes can be Seeker. He brings some 10 meter boost and increased attack buff, and that's all lovely, but he also brings a double hit at A1, this time with a 50% chance on hit of placing provoke for 110. Good option. Champion I'm probably going to be building out on my own free-to-play account as my very first ever Hydra Provoker, because I don't have any other options, you know? If you're really in a pinch, the likes of Duck the Pierced can step in and act as your Hydra Provoker as well. His A3 Provoke, oh god, no he can't, it's a 410 cooldown. No, never mind, it's too long of a cooldown. And so the next best option for Epic Provoker really would have to then be Skaramis, whose Provoke is 100% land bait on his A3, is bookable down to a 310 cooldown, but again, you got to be very, very careful, man, that the Hydra heads at the Head of Mischief is not stealing the counterattack and continuous heal buff off of Skaramis and then buff spreading those to all of the other Hydra heads, right? the AoE block buffs is so important against Hydra, man. If the Hydras are stealing and buff spreading counterattack, your run is going to end quicker than I don't even know what. And if all else fails, you're going to get yourself Vizix as, I believe, the 9-month login reward champion, right? If you're still struggling in Hydra by then, you need provokers. Vizix can do the job. 3-turn cooldown, AoE provoke. She's also void affinity, so she can't be weak hitting. And she also has a AoE decreased speed as well on her A2 and some ally protection action as well. And so she'll be able to do the job for you just fine. But alas, this would be my team, my work in progress if this was my account and I was Mr. Mont and I was trying to build out my first ever Hydra team. This is the team that I would be looking at and just throwing any provoker, like the first provoker champion that we get in this final slot, to handle the Head of Decay. And so there you have it, man. I'm going to take a closer look at some other elements of Mr. Mont's account, offer some feedback where I can, but as for all of the clan boss action, all the clan boss advice that he was after at the start of this video, I hope that this all answered a little bit of some of that for you guys as well. Man, this has been a long one. I've been shooting for like 51 minutes. Let me wrap this up. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking to start off a new raid account, make sure that you do that by using my beginner promo link, which is as always down below at the top of the video description box down below this video. Use that link to create your new raid account, man, for all kinds of freebies as soon as you're done with the tutorial, starting off with your first legendary champion, Elnarel. Thanks for stopping by. Man, I need a drink of water, goddammit. And I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later.